Ready?
Yeah.
What's up, bikers? I'm Johnny Thompson from Fit for Racing, and this is Jono Jones. And check out his leg. He's had an injury which has kept him off the bike for a wee while. So in this video, we're going to talk about ways that you can train around injuries, specifically with Jono lower limb injury, and lots of things that you can get stronger and better at, increasing your function so that when you do get back onto the bike, you're in a good state of fitness and conditioning, and actually you might work some deficit areas that have actually really improved your ability on the bike, even though you haven't been able to ride. If you get this, I'll buy you a Subway. 3, 2,
Ready?
3, 2, 1. Hup.
Gym kit's on, boots tight, and pumped up. Johnny, what we got first?
First, we've got mobility. So we're going to break up Jono's upper body ability and function into different areas. Mobility first. We're going to see how stiff he is. And then we're going to look at stability, and then strength, and then some muscular endurance. We're going to coach him through a lot of different things, so then when he goes home and follows a program specifically around his injury, he knows exactly how to perform those things and get the best out of it.
Sounds like a warm-up then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not 1 rep max yet.
No, 1 rep max at the very end after all of the prep.
Let's
So you
go.
can get the most out of those pecs. Internal rotation of the shoulder.
So we're lifting this up.
Yeah. End of your bend.
Rather than
That could be the title of your video. First of all, Jono, let's take a look at your general, we'll call it a global test of your shoulder mobility. So with a pipe, and you can use a stick if you want, broomstick, hold it as wide as you can. And the goal is to keep your elbows locked. You know exactly what's the goal is.
no, I'm going to be bad at this.
And then hit a wall. So if it can go over your head and your elbows are locked and it can go all the way down your back, that's kind of stage 1 complete.
Okay.
Now that's a general test of which, looking at it, you're pretty terrible at. Which is good, because then there's more things to work on to help you.
But it's how close can you get your hands, right?
Yeah, so ultimately, the closer the better, really. Until you're hypermobile, that's going to be impossible for most people. But generally, a decent width. And you feel the stretch in your pec and your lat and around the back of your shoulder. Now this, as a test, can also be used as a mobility exercise. So whilst warming up, or maybe you're going to go for a ride, you have a broomstick, you can do this with a towel. They're called passovers or dislocates. Don't let that put you off.
So we're starting with mobility. Mobility is something I disregard a lot. I've never in my life been able to touch my toes, and Johnny's just stuck me on a little warm-up to get my shoulders moving. In fact, you can show us how good you are.
How good I am. This isn't even that good. So reasonably narrow all the way around the back, elbows locked.
Oh, I'm terrible at it. But this is important, isn't it? Would you do this before any session?
Yeah, this is a nice global stretch and a test. So what you can do is, as a minimum, if you're going to do some kind of upper body movement, then do this. If there's nothing else you do, just do 10 passovers if you're really stuck for time and you want a nice warm-up and mobility exercise.
Just literally open the shoulders up.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What's next? So next bit of mobility, what are we doing?
This is external and internal rotation of the shoulder.
So we're lifting this up.
Yeah, to try and get your back of your palm on the wall, but as you can see, Jono's got an injury in his shoulder that's really restricting his side.
This is something, I've actually spoke to Johnny before when I came up here in October. I've injured this shoulder in the past. I don't actually remember how I did it, but when I crash, it's almost like my shoulder's going to come out even before I hit the floor, as I'm sort of throwing my arm out. And I've never actually done this test, and this arm can go straight back. You can probably try this at home. This is so tight, and that's exactly the sensation when I crash that I feel like it's levering the joint almost.
Yeah.
So is this just something to
you've
work
got,
on?
You've got lots of restriction in there through tightness that, if you come off your bike and you don't have that time to be able to force your muscle around, then it's a lot more prone to bigger injury because you don't have that mobility.
And is the best way to work on this just by doing this?
Yeah, so a lot of these mobility tests you can actually do as a way to get better at that specific part. So shoulders that dislocates, this type of thing, by doing it controlled and not allowing your spine and torso to accommodate the tightness. So don't force, but just moving gently.
It just pushes your chin out, doesn't it?
See, something needs to give, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is be very vigilant on your hips and your shoulders being attached so they can't change. Lock down your core so that then that can't change, and then get to the end of your range, a little bit extra, and then come back down. So internal and external, if you need to work them both, which you do. Get to the top, exhale a bit, come to the bottom, end range, exhale as you force, but not too much. Don't allow your shoulders to round forwards, you see. Because all that's doing is changing the position of your shoulder to appear to be more range, but ultimately you're just cheating yourself. The goal is not to put your palm on the hand, on the wall. The goal is to get the movement through your shoulder in a strict range.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's tough, like you think when you're in the gym it's how heavy can you lift, but this just probably shows that I've got other things to work on, especially while I'm in this boot.
Lifting heavy.
Over and above lifting, right?
Yeah, lifting heavy is important and having that strength, but when we're talking about function, so being a functional athlete, it goes beyond just strength.
Yeah.
So if you lack mobility and that's the weakest link, that could really compromise you as an athlete. So it's a big bang for buck area to train that might, for you at the moment, be more important than strength.
Okay.
So find the thing that you're weakest at, work on it until it's a strength. So this time next year, you'll be super yoga. You won't.
Evidently. Help me up.
Yeah. Oh, no. Is it bad? Oh, yeah, it's not too bad.
It'll get worse.
Yeah. Next test then, so we've looked at shoulders, global mobility tests. Now we're going to work our way down. So it's really important as a mountain biker to have a good flexible trunk, so through your spine basically. Okay. And a lot of tight areas that you see in that upper mid back, particularly for you working at a desk a lot of the time, you don't get opportunity to really move yourself around. Okay. So this actually, if you had this at your desk, you could put a bar on your back, so the pipe on your back, as you would
even that for my shoulders tight.
Ooh, yeah, so say like a back squat position, and then literally keeping both butt cheeks on solid, feet on the ground solid, lock this down, and then tilt. So you're basically going to hinge side to side.
What, can people do this at home with? You could just do it with a broom handle, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So you see how your bum's coming, wanting to come off. Try and lock that down. So like the test on the wall, we don't want the rest of you to accommodate the stiffness. You want to get to the end of your
bend.
End of your bend.
Rather than a lean.
That could be the title of your video.
What does good look like for this? Am I pretty stiff?
It's not too bad, to be fair.
Right.
Then the next one is a twisting. So about the same place. Okay. And you're literally going to turn and look one direction without moving what's in contact on your butt.
So I can't even get to 90.
Yeah. So goal for you for this then might be 90
golf.
degrees. Let's take a look side to side, tighter that way.
Yeah, I am a lot.
Yeah.
That's I've not really had like the shoulder's obviously an imbalance against the wall, but that's almost 90. What's that? Not even 45.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So that's bad.
But different. And the important takeaway from this is that it's different. So to work that direction, it might actually come from your shoulder as well, the difference. Yeah. So what we've identified here is this side is pretty funky. And by working that out to bring it up to the level of mobility you have on your other side, it'll help those imbalances.
So we've done mobility.
We have done mobility.
Stability?
Stability. Yeah, so what we're going to look at now is improving a bit of your shoulder stability through some banded work. You might know it as assistance movements. So if you've ever done some kind of strength training, then we put assistance movements in to balance the muscles. So if you were just doing bench today, then you might create imbalance. So a lot of mountain bikers are like, yes, that pushing is really important because we're mostly in that position. However, by training that as well, creating more imbalance, we miss stabilizing. And actually, a lot of shoulder injuries can happen because the pec gets tight and get this rounded forward, particularly, it's quite big that now. Particularly like driving a lot and desk job and you get this position. So when you come off your bike or you take a big compression and your shoulder's pushed in the wrong direction, then it hasn't got anywhere to go. And actually, it's not supported well with the bigger muscles around it, like your lats and your rhomboids and your traps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what we want is a mobile joint that's able to move in all directions, stabilized by the musculature around it. The compound big movements like bench will build the big ones, pull-ups for the lats, and rows for the upper mid-back, for everything inside, and all those little ones that you might miss because those movements don't have the range, we make up with a band. So assistance movement number one, the band pull apart. Now you don't need a lot. This isn't a strengthening movement. We don't want to max out on it. So it's best that you have your hands directly in front of you. Take half of the band to start, hook your thumbs on, and the importance here is understanding which muscles you're working. So if you just pull there, let's take a look, and it might show, as suspected, that you're really up on your traps. So because we want to work the mid-back and not the traps, which are generally overworked, particularly when you have some dysfunction in the shoulder, come back to the middle. What you want to do is engage your lats here. So set your shoulders back and down, brace, and then try and put the weight into the middle of your back, like you're squeezing the hand between your shoulder blades. This way we're not creating more imbalance in these muscles that are secondary to the ones that we want to work. That's it. And these now you can feel. And a lot of this is an awareness thing, so you might not even know how to fire those muscles. So for them to work properly, you can't expect these muscles to be working if you can't actively activate them yourself. Ultimately, to become a better mountain biker with this understanding of how you move and what things do around your body, you become a better athlete. If you just set out to be a better athlete, then you'll be a better mountain biker, hand in hand. Less specifics, more basics. Done well.
Weights?
Weights! We looked at mobility and stability exercises, which if you have an extended amount of time, so normally we train in about an hour, we can do a good session. If you've got a little extra, maybe an hour and 15, or a short intense workout element, this is the type of stuff that you can do before that as a warm-up. So you maybe do 5 minutes, increase your heart rate, do some global stretching and warming up like lunges and whatever else you do on a normal warm-up, but then add these in to focus on those, remember those weak areas that we're trying to bring up that deficit. So external into internal rotation for you. Do the global tests, see how you are. Do some of this mobility assistance work with the bands. Do the global tests again after that and see if it's improved. And all of that's going to help you then to do what we're going to do now, which is the heavy strength element. So we're going to take a look at JONO doing is 1 rep max bench, which we don't normally do. Most of the powerlifters out there will be like, what's your 1 rep max? We do 3 rep max, it's safer. We can work out percentages of strength increases after that. It just means it's a little safer, but because you've got me as a spotter, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to go 1 rep max, super.
For the viewers.
100 kilo, what do you reckon you'll get?
75.
75?
Why, do you think I should do more?
Yeah, I think so.
A few moments later.
I want to do 100. I haven't done any, I've been on my arse for over 6 weeks now.
I just felt your pecs, John.
And I've never done 100.
Okay.
I might have done 100 pounds.
Those bad boys look ready.
So 60.
This is 60. Oh, he's got a shake.
Oh, I'm weak.
Just do one more. That's it.
This isn't going to be good.
How did that feel?
Heavy.
Yeah, push the blood out of your foot into your pecs.
So this is 70.
This is 70.
And you want me to do one?
Just one, then you'll get
If
a
I
better
can.
gauge. Of course.
Ready?
Ready? Off.
Off.
Yours. Last. Yeah, easy. Is that it? Push, push. Yes. No.
We might get my body weight. For everyone at home, I'm about 87 or 86, 87 kilos at the moment. I don't think I look it, but I am. So what are we doing now? We're going to go 90.
What do you think?
That'll be over body weight, yeah, let's do that. We've just done 80, we're going to have a bit of a long rest. We're going to go 87 and a half, which is pretty much exactly my body weight. Which I'll be really pleased with, considering the lack of anything that I've done recently. I don't actually know what my max is ever. I feel like I might have done closer to 100, but I would have been lighter when I did that. I'm probably 6 kilos heavier than when I'd normally be racing.
Yeah. This is pretty good as a benchmark. So really, like a lot of the strength movements that we do benchmarks on, we'll look at your body weight versus the weight that you can, say you bench press, maybe not super relevant to mountain biking, but we can do percentage work to build that more functional mountain biking, muscular endurance, etc. But let's say you weighed 200 kilos, like 100 kilos is not a good benchmark. That's half of your body weight.
Yeah.
So using your body weight against your strength numbers is a good way to measure your power to weight, strength to weight ratio, which is more important than your absolute numbers. You know, you can stand at a bar with someone, oh, what's your bench? Yeah, yours is more than mine because you're fucking massive.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, up. Lightweight. Touch and go. Push, 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 push. Yes.
Yay.
More. If you get this, I'll buy you a Subway. 3, 2.
Ready?
3, 2, 1. Up. Fucking have it. Go on. Push it, push it, push it, push, 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 push. Yeah.
Woo! Subway.
Foot long BMT.
Italian BMT, hearty Italian bread, southwest sauce. I want spinach, lettuce, peppers, crispy onions and cucumber.
Right.
Tomatoes. Healthy.
I'll be back.
Y'all feel it?
Athlete lunch ready and served. 5, you're 5 a day. Thank you very much.
As promised.
Eat fresh. Subway. The final part of Jono's coaching today is a little sport-specific stuff which we're going to include in his program to keep him really good at the long descents he's going to be up against when he's back on the bike. So having that upper body muscular endurance is all well and good doing a 1 rep max bench, but we need to convert that into functional ability on the bike. So 1 rep max bench, pretty much for show. This is the real mountain biking specific stuff that we want to do. So there's a few variations, they're all going to be on knees. Because we want muscular endurance, it's no good to do 10 or 12, which would be muscle building. What we want is higher reps of a more consistent more like replication of the strains of downhill sections.
So it's just that
So
upper.
it's a semi push-up.
It is like riding, isn't it? That little.
Literally, yeah, because you do this so much on the bike, we don't want you to come to a section where you've lost the ability. We've seen you with your elbows back before when you're at
Tired.
the foot. So normally, for health of the shoulder and elbows, we do more of a tricep press up or push up, but bike specific,
Wider.
we're going wider, elbows out, replicating a good stable bike position. Because you want to hold this position at the bottom of the most arduous tracks.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. Because as soon as those elbows go in, your chin is over your stem,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
And you go into failure?
Yes. 3 to
I'm
5
nearly there.
times. 3 to 5 times
To
daily.
failure.
But what we're going to do, because we don't want to be doing the same movement and exercise every single day, because the stimulus will wear out and we won't get any more benefit, we're going to mix it between strength endurance, and speed and power. So let's do one set of that. We're on like 500.
Yeah.
So you're going to do that in one session, and then another session, we're going to increase the range, but a little bit more explosive. So a little deeper, and then you're going to push all the way up and come back down. And there's two benefits to this. There's more muscle engagement because of the speed. Okay. Get it, Jono! Come on, come on. Like, drive. Boom! There we go. How did you know he's done a heavy bench? Click back in.
Okay. Work to be done.
This is shit to do at home, not in a public gym. Extra benefit of that is the eccentric, so resistance of
Oh, so dropping into
load.
it.
Yeah. Eccentric, imagine on the mountain bike, you take a lot of that.
Yeah,
It's
immediate
difficult. It's difficult to train. So the engagement of the power and then the eccentric. So we've got 3 variations of an upper body training session, which we can mix up throughout these 6 weeks.
Okay.
Keep you very able and pumped.
Right.
Yeah. And that's it for the JONO Jones episode. Let's call it 1 of 2 because he will be back when the boot's off and he's ready to do some capacity testing and ramping up, like seriously ramping the conditioning for racing. Follow his journey on his own channel. So visit JONO Jones YouTube, subscribe to it. It's good crack.
Thanks, Johnny.
It's very cool to see behind the scenes. You're a very honest and transparent rider. I like following you myself, so you should definitely check him out.
He's not going to be this nice next time I hear.
No, I want him to come back. Maybe not after the next one. 92.5 kilos. We don't need to test that again. Next time it's capacity time. Peace.
Perfect.